Hello, everybody. I am Mark Werber, the Director of Association Management Software. I'm joined today by Diane Clem and Frank Rittersdorf from our AMS Support Department. Hi, guys.
Hey, everyone.
We have a great topic today. It's called Understanding the Member's Accounts Receivable. Let's get started. Of course, we're coming to you live from our multimedia studios here in Simi Valley, California. It takes a team to pull off all of these webinars. I'd like to give special recognition from left to right to Sabrina Steffen, who's our marketing coordinator. She does all of our communications. Mark Boatman, who's our multimedia specialist. He's turning the knobs behind the scenes. That's me in the middle, followed by Frank and Diane, our excellent trainers.
Well, the version that we're in we want to recommend that you upgrade to the latest and greatest, because the version that we're in is 9.28.15.
Hold on just a second there, Frank. Did you just say 92815?
Yeah, that's what it's been.
That's our version.
That's the version.
Well, I think I have some exciting news that I need to share with today's audience, and it just really can't wait. The news is Magic 10 is coming.
Magic 10?
That's right.
Whoa.
Magic version 10.0 is coming. Our next software release will include some additional features that I think our customers will really enjoy. As a matter of fact, I'm really excited to show you, and I think our customers will be equally as excited. Do you mind if I take a few moments from today's webinar to give everybody watching a sneak peek of what's coming?
It'd be really interesting to see what new features we have.
Please do.
Okay, thanks. Introducing Magic 10.
Wow.
This is an appropriate screen. We're on the receipt, query, and adjustment form. And what's the first thing you notice?
The colors. The colors are great.
I love the background. It looks really modern.
That's right. We have brand new colors. The background color has been updated to a nice light blue, and the scroll tables now have alternating row colors.
Well, look how much easier it is to read what's on the screen.
We also have raised 3D style buttons, and this new color palette makes all the information on the screen much easier to see and read. Now for some really cool stuff. We went through most of the commonly used screens, and we now make them expanding. Watch what I can do. I can stretch the screen to be any size up to full screen.
And that means you can get more data. You can see more data all at once. You don't have to scroll as much.
That's right. You want to see more?
Yes.
That's excellent.
You'll also notice that the headers, when you highlight them, you can click and resort the data within the screen.
Oh, wow.
So you can resort columns directly within the grid, and watch this. You can even move the columns around. So if I want to move the receipt number to the front of the screen, I can simply drag and drop.
Well, that's going to be really useful.
That's going to make life so much easier.
Pretty neat, huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, the settings will be in your memory. So if you resize the screen and then close it, the settings will be saved for each user.
Oh, so you don't have to always change it to exactly how you want it every time you go into the form. I like that.
Let me show you something else that's really cool. You can now export data directly from the screen. So I'm on the receipt query and adjustment form.
Wow.
And I can actually export this data. I'm going to export it to a file named receipts.csv and open the file. Watch this. I'm going to click Finish.
Yeah.
It'll open up right into Excel.
Right to Excel.
All the data that's on the screen.
That's awesome.
That's going to be a great feature. Let me close this. Also, we've added another feature that has a built-in tool that lets you save reports to PDF. That'll be a really nice feature when you go to print a report. It'll save it to PDF format.
That's nice, and then they can do a search function right in the PDF. That's going to be really awesome.
You can search for data, yep.
Hey, let me show you some more stuff. I'm going to close this one and go to Internet Member Services.
Whose website is this?
Wow.
Well, yeah, Internet Member Services, or IMS, is also receiving a makeover. All the IMS screens have been redesigned with a fresh new color palette, and each page has been reorganized to efficiently utilize space.
It looks really fresh.
Look how much easier you can move from section to section with your eye because of those gradient lines there.
The first thing you should immediately notice is the color palette. There's a gray background color here with a white frame border. We've also added these little bullet items to the hyperlinks so that they're easier to read. And then the gradient bars between each section clearly identify separation between menu items.
I love it. I love it.
Let me show you how we've actually done this to all the forms. So if I do go to something like the class calendar, you'll notice the separation. So all the forms have been updated, and the styling is consistent throughout the application.
Wow.
The information is no longer compacted on the screen. We're better utilizing the space between data fields, and each event is clearly displayed in its own section.
Now, when do our customers get a hold of these features? When do they get to use these, Mark?
Let me get to that. Let's go back to our PowerPoint and go through the Magic feature list. Magic version 10 will be NAR CDB compliant to include education and financials. It has that brand new color palette that I just showed you. The expanding screens, which are really nice for viewing data. The ability to move and resort your columns within the screen. Reports can be now saved to a PDF format with a built-in save tool. And you saw how I could export the screens to Excel. Magic version 10 is also completely compatible with future Microsoft operating systems like Windows 8. And we've done all those great improvements to Internet Member Services.
That's a lot of features you guys get in with this new Magic 10 they're going to get. When can they get this?
Good question, Frank. We're going to start releasing Magic 10 to all of our customers around mid-May. Those customers that have licensed Rapatoni CDB connector will take first priority. However, we plan to upgrade all of our customers to Magic 10. Hey guys, thanks for giving me the opportunity to show you what's coming with Magic 10. Let's get back to today's topic.
Well, thank you for providing us with that sneak peek of what's coming next in Magic. That's very exciting stuff. So now today we're going to talk about our agenda, which is understanding members' accounts receivable, or AR, in Magic.
So basically we're getting back to our regular scheduled programming.
Yes, we are getting back to our regular scheduled programming. We're going to look at the AR for members, look at that main screen, and then aside from that, we're going to also look at receipt history. Now, while we do recognize it's a cruel world, we're going to try to keep it very simple for you and go through this in a way that will be easy to understand. So now Frank is going to take us to Magic, and we can take a look at that.
Okay.
And, oh, wow, this is really good. We get to look and work today in Magic 10, so you get to see for yourself.
We must have connections.
I think we do. We have very good connections here.
Okay, so how do we get to the accounts receivable? Well, first we need to get to the membership information form. So we're going to go to Managers, Membership, Member Information Form. And we're going to pull up our example today. Today we're going to do Griffin Ridgersdorf. And we're going to select the AR button over on the right. We're going to go right into the Member Accounts Receivable because that's pretty much where everybody goes.
And it's really so much easier to navigate there with those bold buttons like that. Now, first, let's look at the top part. And we're looking at Griffin's AR screen. Here you can find how many unpaid invoices are on his account and the total amount he owes right away just by looking at this top part of the screen. Under the Build To section, you can see the member who is the incurring member and the office they belong to. And there are 4 buttons to the right that you can use for various functions. The Show Archived button is good in the case where a member has invoices that have been archived to save space. You can click on that button to look at those invoices that have been archived, and then click it again to go back to looking at the current invoices which have not been archived. Also available is the AR Activity Report. You can run this in summary or detail, and this is very useful when your members come in and say they'd like a statement of their account for tax purposes or what have you. You can fill out your criteria and then create the report right here from the member's AR. Billing group totals is useful if your member has several invoices outstanding for the board and also for another billing group such as MLS. They can get a quick and easy breakdown of what they owe for what purpose. This additional button pertains to whichever invoice you have selected. You select your invoice and click on that button, and you can get useful information such as who is the bill to, where does it get shipped to in the case that you sold something. There also is a space for a comment. You can click on View Comment and get all the information that's in that field in case it's more information than that one section will hold for you. So Frank's going to take us to the section on outstanding and paid invoices.
Thank you, Diane. So in the outstanding and paid invoices, we have the first couple of columns are pretty basic. We know what they are, like invoice number, date that the invoice is created, the member number, the office number, and then also billing group and invoice type. I know, when I work with some of the customers and then we need to do some type of troubleshooting, or someone's calling and says, I need to create late fees, well, this is where a lot of our support staff will go to first. They'll take a look at what billing group it's under, the invoice type that it's under, the date, and the amount, and those are all great criteria for help us create late fees, as well as knowing the invoice type and bill group is great for troubleshooting issues and so forth. So really, these have been very helpful in the past, at least for the support staff here. Also, we have the total of the invoice, what's been applied to that invoice, and what's still currently due on the different invoices. Now, the status can be very helpful as well because it lets you know if the invoice has been written off, like for instance, this particular invoice. And of course, we have our offsetting invoice that's been created during that process. Now, the reference has been great for research. This is not the reference that you're going to see in receipts. This really pertains to the education classes registration IDs or even events registration IDs. So it's really great for research to kind of link the registration to an invoice. Another column that can be great use for research is the GL control column. This in particular invoice has been updated to month end. Someone has done month end. This is included in that. And this number lets us know what month end batch this invoice is in. And this most likely would be the sales update because it's an invoice. So again, great research. You have to go back and look. You're having an issue trying to go back and look. Well, now you know this has been posted to the GL number 20 GL batch. The member history just lets you know if the member's been updated to history, as well as due split lets you know if that dues invoice has been split to NAR or your state invoice. Hey, Diane, do you want to take us to the action buttons below?
I would love to. Thank you, Frank. The first one we're going to look at is invoice detail. You're going to select your invoice, click on that button, and you can get a lot more information on that invoice, such as the line items included. You got your charge code information, you have batch information, the date the invoice was created, who the user was that created the invoice, and you can also click on this receipts button in the case where the invoice has been paid to find out the specific receipt that paid that invoice that you're taking a look at. And again, there's batch information here as well as the user information. The receipts button is another way to get to the specific receipt that paid the invoice you've selected. So in case you don't want to open the invoice up, you can just click on that receipts button after you've selected your invoice and get the same information. You also have the opportunity to print the receipt from the screen. Also, by the same token, you have the ability to print the invoice as well. And you can either print it or email it. If the member comes in, wants a copy of their statement, they don't want to carry it around with them, you can email it to them. They'll have it, in the office when they get back or in their phone in case they want to reference it later. Very useful tool. The ability to write off an invoice is also here. So if you were to write off an invoice, you would select your batch, and you could go ahead and the system uses a non-monetary transaction to apply the offsetting invoice to the invoice you're writing off, and gives you an opportunity to note why you're writing that invoice off. Another very useful button is the transfer invoice button. You can transfer an invoice from one member to another and from one office to another so that whatever happens with that member, if that invoice is outstanding, it can follow the member. Now, before we look at receipt history, I want to kind of summarize, give us an opportunity to summarize what we've covered because I know we've covered a lot of information. So Frank, why don't you go ahead and take care of that for us?
I can definitely do that. So what Diane has showed us in the top part of the AR's main screen is we have the AR activity report, which is, again, is great for when members walk in and say, I need a list of my transactions for my taxes. We also have the additional information section, which will display bill to, ship to information, as well as any comment that you might write for that particular invoice. We also looked at the reference. Again, it's not the same as the reference in your receipt. It's linking a registration to an invoice. So that's for the education event registration. And again, it's been great for research. The geo control, again, is also great for research. This gives you the number and lets you know which month and batch that particular invoice is in there. As well, make sure the invoice follows the member. So the member moves to a different office. If an outstanding invoice is still there, we need to transfer that invoice and kind of have that invoice follow the member. They're kind of codependent like that. So, and be careful, be sure to let all your other staff members know you're a professional accountant. Don't try this at home. Okay, so now let's go to the receipt history section. We'll follow our little adding machine, and let's take a look.
I love that dancing adding machine.
That was funny.
That was very cute. All right, so first we're going to take a look at the receipt history form.
One more thing, Diane, I just want to turn out something we figured out this past month. We had someone walk into the office, and he kind of informed us that creative accounting is really only a creative term for white-collar crime. So we just kind of want to put that out there, something else that we kind of learned in the past month.
It's something we definitely all want to be aware of. We don't want to end up like these two guys here in the
yeah, exactly.
right-hand corner of the screen.
Yes, there we
all
go.
Right. Okay, so let's go to our receipt history form.
Okay. At that receipt history
Click on that button, and now we're going to look at Griffin's receipt history. This is a list of all payments that have been made on his account, and it gives you useful information such as the receipt number itself, the date, member number it applies to, what kind of payment type was made. If it was a credit card payment, you will see all or part of the credit card number in this field. If the member paid by check, you'll see the check number here or whatever information you chose to put there. You have batch ID information, and under the reference field, you'll either have the EC control number if it's a credit card payment, or you'll have whatever notes you put in if it is not a credit card payment. So, Frank, why don't you go ahead and cover those action buttons this time?
Gotta love those action buttons. Yes, first action button we've got is the Apply To. This is great, especially if you're having one receipt pay for multiple invoices. This Apply To button will show you all the different invoices that are linked to that receipt. Also below, it kind of gives you the date and the amount and the balance due. In this case, this particular invoice was written off, and will give you that status for that invoice as well. The next button we have is IMS detail. If this transaction happened on IMS, like the one we're seeing here, it will give you some information from the IMS transaction. You also can print or email the receipt here. So again, great way to get it to the office, have the receipt beat the member back to his office. And he has it right there, and he can store it right in his email. You can also void a receipt if it's not a credit card transaction. It will give you a nice confirmation here. Are you sure you want to void this receipt? And if you do, you can just click on it. It's an auto process. It's an auto process that will void the receipt and do that non-monetary transaction for you. And remember, we do have the post NSF. Again, it's another auto process, so you don't have to manually create the offsetting invoices and do the non-monetary transaction. As well as if it's a credit card transaction, it will give you the post chargeback. So if they're disputing the charge, you can actually hit the chargeback, and Magic will do that auto process for you. You just need to make sure that you have it set up in your billing group information form under billing group detail or fees details.
If I'm not sure if that's set up properly, can I call support?
Yes, you definitely can call support. We'd be glad to help our customers out and set that up. And the last section we have is issue credit. Gives you a nice form here where you enter your batch. You actually have an option to either do a full refund or a partial refund. You can even put the refund on a new credit card. It doesn't have to be the original one that they gave you. Fill in the information and create the credit. So really nice and easy and seamless. Okay, so that's what we're going to. Let's go back and kind of review what we talked about. Diane, you want to handle that?
I would love to. So we talked about the receipt history form. We looked at the status and whether the receipt has been voided or refunded. That information was visible there. Noted that the reference number for credit card transactions is the same as the EC control number at e-commerce. Took a look at IMS detail in the case where a transaction was actually done on the IMS, or Internet Member Services. Looked at the ability to post NSF chargeback, and keep in mind you can always call if you need help setting that up. And look, I think there's a little bit of additional information here. According to the generally accepted accounting principles that you may have learned in Accounting 101, GAAP is not a fashion statement.
Oh man, you mean it's not seasonal? We only have to follow. We have to
so.
follow those principles all year long.
All year long.
Month-end maniac.
Okay, and that is what we've got going here, and this is the summary. So we talked about the AR's main screen. We talked about the activity report, where you can just quickly run a report for someone that needs their transactions, most commonly for their taxes.
We also took a look at the accounts receivable, outstanding, and paid invoices. We noted that registration IDs are easily visible for quick and easy reference when you're looking at outstanding invoices on the member's account.
We also talked about the AR's action buttons below, where we have a button there where you can actually auto-process your write-off. Makes it nice and easy and quick.
And under receipt history, we noted that the reference number is equal to the EC control number at e-commerce. Very, very helpful when you're researching payments.
And also receipt history's action buttons below. We also talked about the auto process for posting either an NSF or a chargeback. And again, these are just highlights that we covered. So we covered much, much more.
Wow, that was a lot of information. That sure is helpful in looking up members' accounts receivable as well as payment history.
Now it's time for our question and answer
Question
section.
and answer. Let's see if we have any questions today. Well, the first one's really a comment, but I have to share it with our audience. It has to do with Magic 10, and I'll try and paraphrase. Yippee!
That's not really
Sort by
fair.
heading and export is awesome. Thank you, Sparkle. You rock.
Who's Sparkle? Is that you?
That's my nickname. Yeah. Any other questions we have on there?
Oh yeah, they're asking about Magic 10 once again.
Okay, there's another question about Magic 10. Is there a cost to upgrade to Magic 10? The answer is no. There is never a cost to upgrade to the current version of Magic. As a matter of fact, we encourage all of our customers to be on the latest and greatest. So there is no cost to upgrade to the current version of Magic.
So we also have, will Magic 10 allow multiple email addresses?
We have not addressed the need for multiple email addresses in NetMagic version 10. What we're really doing is improving the visual aspects and ease of use.
So, okay, we have another one. Still, they're wondering about the GL control number. What batches are we referring to? So basically what we're talking about, when you run a month-end at the end of the month, or even year-end, I believe,
Yeah.
it goes into a batch that you can export into your accounting software. So it creates a batch, it locks up those transactions for you, and that's the batch we're referring to, again, when you're closing, doing month-end closing at the end of the month.
We're just looking through some more of these questions. Will the full credit card number be shown? That's a great question. It depends on user rights. You can actually limit or allow user rights. So, for example, the main accounting person may need to see the full credit card number, or your Rapatoni administrator can limit the view of the credit card number to hide the whole field, or even display the last four. So that is a user right assigned per user of Rapatoni Magic. What else do we have?
So we have a couple of people asking, when are they going to be able to get to Magic 10?
Good question.
How should they expect a call from us, or should they call us?
So our plan is to upgrade everybody that has licensed the Central Database Connector, the CDB connector. We're going to upgrade all of those customers by June 30th. That's our goal. The rest will be updated shortly after, and we will be contacting all of our customers to schedule an upgrade in the month of June.
We actually have another question here regarding the AR. Could you give us an example of when to use the invoice transfer? Well,
good question.
Very good question. Well, if you have a member that's in one office and decides to transfer to another office within your database, you can transfer that member there. But if you have an outstanding invoice already created, linked to the member in the original office, you can use that invoice transfer, which will basically make it to where that invoice follows the member to the new office. Figuratively.
And the last question is can reports be exported to Excel? Well, there might be more than one report. Can reports be exported to Excel? For example, the sales journal report. Yes, you can actually export reports today. There is a redirect function that will allow you to save any report in a text file format. There is one small difficulty, is that a lot of these reports are formatted, and you might have to remove the formatting once you look at the data within Excel. We're looking through these questions still?
Yeah, we did. Couple more. Yes, as always, we will post the webinars on our website. So that, I'm sorry, that was one of the questions.
Okay, I think that we've reviewed enough questions for this session. Of course, if you have any other questions related to this topic or any other topic that we've covered in the past, please send your email with your questions to webinars@rapatoni.com, and one of our technical experts will be happy to answer them for you.
And now it's time for Rapatoni Wrap Up.
To view past and future webinars, we'd like to remind you, and also to register for upcoming webinars, to visit our website at www.rapatoni.com. Click on Support, Magic, Webinars, and Training Videos, and you can take a look at a list of upcoming and also past webinars. As Frank mentioned earlier, you can view them again and again, pause them and restart them depending on what information is important to you. Also, don't forget to take advantage of our Magic resource articles. Again, at our website, click on Support, Magic, and Magic Resource Articles, and you can search for the topic that you're looking for answers in.
Our next Magic webinar will be held on May 28th. What's the topic, Frank?
Well, Mark, you probably noticed I kind of like the dual titles. Kind of get that from back in watching the Rocky and Bullwinkle cartoons there when I was a kid. But today, or next month's topic will be Different Strokes or Kill Your Mouse. This presentation will show you keystrokes that ensures you are more efficient in your daily Magic activities. And guess what? We will also unveil some new keystrokes for Magic 10. So when it's available, make sure you sign up and register as soon as you can.
We've been telling you for months now, NAR's CDB deadline is quickly approaching. The deadline is June 30th, 2012. If your association is not CDB compliant by this date, you will need to duplicate your changes in both your local Magic database and on NAR's Realtor.org website.
That sounds like a pain, isn't it?
If you have not signed up to license the CDB connector by this time, please contact us because we do need to schedule your installation well in advance of the NAR deadline. And if you want more information, please contact our sales department. The number is here on the screen.
And a reminder, NAR's mid-year meeting is coming up, May 14th through 19th. We will be there to meet with you and offer demos and private appointments, and we look forward to seeing you there. As always, we will have our smiling faces. We look forward to seeing yours.
Thanks for participating in today's presentation. Hope you enjoyed the material we covered today, and we will talk to you soon.
We will see you next month. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.